Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to InfoGamer. For this video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. A few days ago, I had a voice chat with one of our subscribers who goes by the name Zeme over Discord. Now, Zeme had some questions on how to implement certain game mechanics for a project that he's been working on. And he was at a point in his project where he felt a little bit stuck, and so he thought he'd ask me to see if I could look at his project and find out what the problems were with the game mechanics he was trying to implement. And with his permission, I was able to record the whole voice chat along with his screen share. And I was able to help Zeme with his project, and so I thought I would make a tutorial out of the conversation that we had. Now, the game mechanic that he was trying to implement into his project was a grind rail like in all the old Tony Hawk Pro Skater games. And he actually had the game mechanic working in this project, but what wasn't working was the creation of the grind rail, so that each joint of the grind rail would stretch to the next joint. And so this tutorial is on how to get an object to stretch from one point in your scene to another point in your scene. But enough of me talking, let's get into the phone call.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going all right.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've talked.
Yeah, it has. I've made all these pipes. I showed my game to Proto Bear. He's the leader of the MMORPG subreddit, and he's pretty excited for it and said I could advertise on the subreddit once it's more finished. And
nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good job.
I'm really excited for that. And I got Remote from MMOs who's going to let me advertise as well. So hopefully it's a big launch. But
yeah,
we'll see.
That sounds awesome.
And we got 140 frames still. Everything is silky smooth. Oh, 120 right now. So right now I have these bars, and they're a bit of a mess. Mm-hmm. And it's meant to be like Tony Hawk, where you can grind on and it does let you grind, but it's very messy. But it eventually gets you to the end, and the reason it's so messy is because I'm trying to do it by code. Right. Because without code it looks like this. They're very clean and put together, and I've got it working where you can go from one box to the other, but I wanted to fill in the gap between each box. It's a very interesting problem to solve. Right. And I used the look at function, so I got every cube looking at the next cube in front of it, which is helpful. Mm-hmm. And then I figured I took this cube and I duplicate it, and then I moved it up, and what did I do? I scaled it from 1 unit to 3, and then I wanted to see what would make it go here. Mm-hmm. And it looks like, I don't know the math behind it, but I basically want to keep scaling it in this direction. But as I scale it, for every 2 units I scale it, I also have to move it 1 unit on the Z direction. Yeah. I think for every 2 units you scale, it's 1 unit for the movement.
Yeah.
So I figured, okay, get the distance to the next box. That's step 1. I haven't printed out that distance anywhere, so I don't know if it's right. I'm not sure if I'm getting the distance correctly. I have it as distance to the next box equals vector3.distance between the box transform position and the next box transform position. And next box equals transform.find grind i+1.gameObject, which they're all named grind 0
right
through 18. So it's like it finds it by string, and then it returns the game object, and it seems to be working for look at. But then I need to get the distance, and then I'm trying to scale it and adjust its position locally. And I think the blue arrow is the z-axis, and I originally tried it by divided by 4 and this divided by 2, but it doesn't give me the intended result. So that's why I'm calling on your help.
Yeah. So I have a few ideas.
Okay, yeah, hopefully you're able to fix this one.
See what happens with this.
You know, it's pretty decent. It's not the worst result.
So it looks like it's scaling forward and backwards because you're getting it to scale to the object, but then the object it's that you're scaling it to scales backwards so that you have like an additional tail coming off of each corner, right?
Right.
So okay, so I think let's try something. So first off, what is this script attached to?
It is attached to an empty game object with another empty game object. I don't know why there's two. I originally had graphics for where the grind starts, but I actually I could for all intents and purposes get rid of that and just have it as grind start.
Okay, so how about this? How about let's start.
That works the same. I just want to make sure it works the same. Now that I've unparented. Yeah, it does. Okay.
Yeah. So I have an idea. Let's create a new script to work in so we don't mess up your old one.
Grind box stretcher.
Yeah.
That's a good name.
Sure. All right. So let's create a transform, like a serialized field transform object or variable. And we'll call it my box. And then let's create a public transform called next box.
Would I need to serialize the field if I'm making it public?
No. That's just for being able to see it in the inspector if it's private.
Oh. Let's do next box.
Yeah, next box.
I use the .find function to find the next box with a really kind of janky way of finding it.
So in the start function, let's do a look at, like transform.lookat, and then look at the next box. Lowercase t. And then let's create a float variable. It doesn't have to be public, yeah. We'll call it distance. And then let's get the distance between our current box and the next box. So let's get rid of the my box on that. Just do transform. Yep. I don't think we need the my box variable.
Oh, because you're planning on putting it on each individual box.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see what you're doing here. Okay.
Then, so on the next line of code after that, let's just try scaling the current transform. So transform.localScale to be 1, 1, and then let's just try the distance. It might be distance divided by 2, but we'll try it for now. Okay, and then
slap that on a cube. See what happens.
But first, you
need to put the next cube in the script, right?
So actually, before that, let's create So go to your grind start game object and let's disable the grind box collider script that you have.
That all it does is puts box colliders on everything.
Oh, right. I thought that was the stretching one.
Yeah, they don't have box colliders on them to start. They get box colliders by code.
Okay, then you might want to leave that on, I guess.
Well, there wouldn't be any collisions or triggers.
Yeah, well, yeah. So let's copy the other script, the grind box stretcher script.
Ooh. Copy the component.
Yeah, and then let's remove it from that one. And then
go
you need
here.
to do a little modification first, actually.
Oh, okay.
Before that. So let's create an empty game object. And place it as a child to your first box.
To the first box or the grind start?
The first box. And then center out the like transform for it.
To be
for the empty game object.
Be like directly. Oh, it's why isn't it?
That's weird. I would just do like a 0, 0 on all of it.
Oh,
yep.
It's slow. It's dependent on the. That might be what's messing it up. Actually, is having all the cubes dependent on this grind start here.
Yeah, well, you could probably put the grind start as like centered in your scene or something.
At 0, 0, 0 and just be like a grind manager.
Yeah. So let's unparent that empty game object and then make the first box a parent to, or a child to that empty game object. Then let's move it over in the Z direction by 0.5.
Which one? This one?
The box. The box, not the empty.
Z direction by 0.5.
Yep. So now select the empty game object. Oh, did it undo?
No, it didn't. It kept its position. It's just oh, I see what you did there. So now every time you move it in the Z direction, it only goes. Or wait, every time you.
So is the Z?
Oh, it'll still scale in both ways.
Is the Z of the box at 0.5?
Now it is.
Okay. Yep. I just saw it move back and was like, what happened?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So now select the empty game object.
Okay.
And let's attach that script to this object. Yeah. And then let's duplicate the empty game object. Actually, it won't be that, but let's duplicate that empty game object. And move that one to like the next position that you want it to be in. The next transform. You can just drag it up above. Looks like it's a child. And
there we go.
Yeah, so just move that box to like the next position that you want it to be.
Okay.
All right. So now select the first box.
Oh, but it's off as your.
It's okay. Yeah. So yeah, select the first box, empty game object. The parent object to that. There you go. Then drag the second box into the next box variable.
The grind the zero object?
No,
or the empty game object?
Okay, now let's click play. Oh wait, it's going to throw an error on the second one.
Object reference not set to an instance of an object?
Yeah, so let's...
on 20... Oh, grind box colliders. That's actually my script.
Oh, it is?
One sec. Oh, I guess we have to disable
let's
that.
click on the error. Okay.
Yeah, it's this line.
Okay.
Because it's trying to find grind 0, and it's not traversing through all the children anymore. It's not on the first level, so we could just disable that for now, I guess.
Yeah. So let's try again. Might still throw an error in our script.
We might just need to put box colliders individually in all of them too.
Yeah, let's see.
That's not bad. How far did we go? Did we go right to it? And then we didn't. The second one, well, it doesn't have this one parented to it, so I would just need to parent to it all the way down the chain, it looks like. That's pretty good.
Does it need to be cut in half?
Yes.
It's doing something. Yeah.
I think it needs to be cut in fourths. Let me see here. 1, 2, 3. I think it needs to be cut in fourths.
Okay. So let's do that. Now at this point in the recording of this voice chat, I need to interject just one little detail. And that is, in Zeme's project, you'll notice that the topmost parent object of the grind rail has a scale that is not 1, 1, 1. And this is why Zeme's doing a divide by 4, when in reality you don't need to divide it by anything. And so let me show you. If I create an empty game object, and then I create a 3D cube as a child to that object, if I then move the cube over by 0.5 in the Z direction, and then I duplicate my empty game object, and then let's say we'll move this object over in the Z direction by 5, I can then take my first empty game object and scale it out in the Z direction, and once it's at the scale of 5, you'll notice that the first cube is now flush with the start of the second cube. Now if I undo this scaling, and I then create another empty game object, and I center it in the scene, but then I change the scale of this object, and then I make these objects a child to our new object. Then when I take the first cube, and I scale it out in the Z direction, you'll notice that it's not a perfect number to get it close to being flush with the second cube. And so in the rest of the voice chat, Zeme and I try and figure out why it's not perfectly scaling to be flush with the next object. And we actually don't figure it out in the rest of the voice chat, but then Zeme messaged me afterwards once he had found this problem. But there's still a lot of great principles, and you can see our thought process in the rest of the video. And so let's switch back and I'll continue on.
All right. That's perfect. And then I'll make it to the next object.
Yeah. So basically, if you have an empty game object, and then you have a child object that you move over by like 0.5 if it's a square, because a square is 1 by 1 by 1. If you move it over by 0.5, then when you scale the parent object, that object will be scaled in relation to the parent object. And so it'll scale out from the parent object instead of in both directions.
Okay, let's see the scene view. So
like, if you select that cube, it's still going to be 1, 1, 1 in scale. And that's because we're scaling the parent object.
So when this scales,
It grows
out
from the parent object because we moved it over by 0.5.
In the... What direction do we move it over in?
In the Z, in the forward direction.
So because it's not... So if you moved it over by 1 unit, this would only need to be scaled distance divided by 2. And if you moved it over by...
But if you moved it over by 1 unit, then the starting edge of the cube wouldn't be on the center transform of the parent.
So this is pretty good. Why is it that it didn't go to the center transform of this cube, or did it? Did it go to the? I'm just wondering. I mean, it'll work. I'm just wondering why it wasn't like perfect. You know?
So looks like select the box underneath it. Underneath that one. Does that one have a Z of 0.5?
Yeah, it does.
Select the parent object again, and then up at the top to the right of your like toolbar, there's center and local. Up at the click on center, and that's weird. Just trying to figure out why the...
Yeah, it should have went straight in the middle here, I'm pretty sure.
Here's a thought. Let's, in this code, we need to add one line of code, one thing. Around all of that, inside the start function, make an if statement, checking to see if next box does not equal null. Let's save that. And then on the second box, let's... Yeah, so let's go back to Unity. And on the second box, let's remove the next box value in the variable. Like remove the value that you have in there.
Oh, because I copied it?
Yeah. And then let's hide all the other boxes just so that they're out of the way, like the old boxes. Okay, let's try it again.
Would we want...
I mean, you can create more.
3 boxes?
Yeah, you can
create... Would we want 3?
You can create additional links. Just duplicate that, one of the other objects.
Let me see here. This box is grind 2. So what I needed to do was duplicate this. And then do grind 2's component values on that. Like that. And then
you'll select your second box. And
this
add
one.
The reference to the third box. Yep.
This one doesn't have a reference. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be a pretty good proof of concept. Let's see if that works. I don't know why there's 2 boxes here.
It's doing some weird gap thing.
There's a 0.5 gap, I think. So I think we need to like do this plus 0.25.
Yeah, you could try that. Might be...
Cannot convert double to float. I didn't put an F.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know if the gap got smaller or not.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
I think it did.
Try 0.5 maybe.
Or 1. 0.5. Why is there
You might want to
gap?
do like a 0.51 to have it like a little bit of overlap.
Oh, right.
I have no idea why there's a gap there.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I'm just wondering why it's not flush, because it feels like this should be flush.
I feel like I've done this before and it was flush.
Well, that'll work.
Nice. So what was it? Was it just a 1 or something?
It was a 1 now. Oh, I don't have the box colliders on it, so I can't grind.
Yeah.
But I have the visual for the rail.
Mm-hmm.
The downsides is that I need to do this one at a time for each grind rail, but that's fine. Well, I have quite a bit of grind rails to do, and but having a script on each grind node will also give me control to mark a grind node as special. And then if you were to do a trick while grinding that particular grind node, you might hop to another pipe or something, or avoid an obstacle. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of leeway here to make this fun.
Yeah, definitely. I think you can just put a box collider manually on the objects in the inspector and it should scale properly with the object itself. Because
yeah,
you're just working with basic cubes at the moment and stuff. If you like change it to a mesh collider and stuff in the future, I don't know how it would.
These would be like graphics.
How it would differ.
And then you could just select them all. Box collider. I don't know why that size is very close to 1, but not quite. We'll see if that works. This goes. Oh, I think they need to be triggers. Trigger. Yeah, this should work. Grind. Oh, it resets it. Oh, that's sad. I'm not sure why it does that. I'll have to figure that out later. But I have the visuals. So.
Yeah.
That's good.
Hope that was helpful.
It was. Yeah. Definitely helpful.
You could also rename the empty game objects to something like grind joint or something. Like grind corner. I don't know.
Joint. Yeah, joint works.
Alright, so that's the end of the voice chat that I had with Zeme. It was a great opportunity that I had to help one of my subscribers. Now, I'd like to be able to do this kind of thing with more of all of you, but of course I won't be able to help everyone to this degree. And so I'm going to take some time to figure out a schedule and a system in order to help at least some of you over voice chats. But let me throw out a little disclaimer. In order for this to work, I'm going to have to be able to record every voice chat I have over Discord. And so be warned, if you ask for my help over a voice chat, most likely I will be recording it, and you might just end up being featured in one of my YouTube tutorials. I would also ask you to be considerate during the voice chat and try and abstain from using any bad language, as I try to keep all of my tutorials very family friendly. Now, if you're interested in being featured in one of these videos and you have a problem with one of your Unity projects that you think I might be able to help you with, then head over to our Discord server and keep an eye out for an announcement in the next few days. Now, if you like this video and you found it to be helpful, then make sure that you give it a thumbs up, leave any questions you have in the comments below, and finally subscribe to our channel so you can be up to date on all our latest videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.